Biological diversity of viruses. Talking about its history, viruses, which are also known as group of intracellular parasites, they were first discovered by Louis Pasteur, who was working on creating a vaccine for then known deadly disease rabies, which is causing death of a lot of people at that time. So Louis Pasteur suspected something even smaller in size than bacteria, and he named it by using Latin word virus, which means poison. Later, Russian biologist Dmitry Ivanovsky worked with tobacco mosaic virus, and while working on that virus in 1892, he also confirmed Pasteur's hypothesis of an infectious agent, that there did exist something even smaller in size than bacteria. After the invention of electron microscope in the 20th century, it was possible to actually see virus under a microscope. Viruses, which are also known as venom or poisonous fluid, are submicroscopic biological entities which lack cellular organization, which means they do not possess the basic organelles of a cell. They do not have plasma membrane or metabolic machinery. So the only thing they possess is the genetic material. They essentially require host for their multiplication, which means that they cannot reproduce outside the host body. They do need host biosynthetic machinery or metabolic machinery so that they can reproduce or replicate. Their host varies from plants, bacteria, animals, or humans. Structure of a virus. It's a submicroscopic infectious particle that is composed of a protein coat, which is basically the head of a virus. And inside the head, there is genetic material, which is also called nucleic acid core. Viruses are similar in size to a large protein macromolecule, so they are comparable to a large protein macromolecule. Generally, they're smaller than 200 nanometer in diameters. They contain genetic information either in the form of DNA or RNA, and they can undergo mutation and reproduce. However, they cannot carry out metabolism and are thus not considered alive, because if the definition of a living entity is something that can reproduce by using their own biosynthetic machinery, then definitely viruses are not living entities, because they need or require a host biosynthetic machinery to reproduce or replicate. Basically, an infectious virus particle, also called virion, is composed of a core of only one type of nucleic acid, which is wrapped in a protective coat of protein called capsid. This capsid is further composed of few capsomers, which are arranged in particular sequence, which determines the shape of a virus. So these are the different shapes of viruses. The one is known as T lambda virus, the second one is helical RNA virus, and the third one is circular RNA virus. Viruses have following three different types of symmetry. Icosahedral. Many viruses have spherical, cubical, or polygonal shape, which is basically icosahedral or 20-sided. Examples are bacteriophage or turnip yellow mosaic virus. Then there comes helical or cylindrical symmetry. Tobacco mosaic virus, bacteriophage, M13, and influenza viruses have such symmetry, and they consist of numerous identical capsomers which are arranged in a helical structure. Then comes complex symmetry. These viruses have complex shaped capsid. Um, those without identifiable capsid, example pox virus such as Vaccinia cowpox. Rabies virus is a bullet-shaped virus. Some viruses like influenza and mumps viruses are surrounded by 100 to 150 Armstrong thick spiked membranes, and this membrane consists of a lipid bilayer of plasma membrane. So, are viruses living entities? This is a debatable topic. There is no clear answer to this question. If life is defined as being cellular, then viruses are not alive, because they do not contain the basic essentials of a cell. If life is defined as being capable of making new lives through own metabolic efforts, then viruses are not, because they need hosts and they use their machinery to reproduce. If life is defined as being able to specify each new generation according to its own genetic instruction, then viruses are living systems, because the only thing that they possess of a cell is genetic material. Biological diversity of viruses. They infect all sorts of cells from bacteria to humans, but for the most part, they tend to be host specific. For example, tobacco mosaic virus infect only certain plants. The rabies virus infects only mammals, so mammal includes both humans and animals. AIDS virus, HIV infects only certain human blood cells. So viruses are so host specific that they are so particular about um, cells of the body that HIV, like HIV infects only human blood cells, and there is polio virus that only reproduces or infects spinal nerve cells. So viruses are not only host species specific or organ specific, they are also cell specific. Naming and classification of viruses, they are named randomly according to the disease caused, uh, like poliomyelitis virus, host organism bacteriophages, plant viruses, animal or some coded system T1, T2 phages, nature of nucleic acid, DNA or RNA viruses. So T2 phage is basically a double-stranded DNA bacteriophage. Then bacterial viruses, which are also known as bacteriophages, they parasitize the bacterial cells, also called bacteriophage or phages, which means eating up. The phages have specific hosts. The most widely studied phages are T1 bacteriophages, and then there comes the further classification of bacteriophages like T2, T4, and T6, which infects E. coli. They are also known as coliephages. So E. coli basically a bacteria. So all the viruses infecting bacterial cells are called bacteriophages. There's a life cycle of bacteriophage. It has two main important phases. One is lytic cycle and the other is lysogenic cycle. In the first phase, lytic cycle, in which viral infection is followed by lysis of the host cell and release of new infectious phages. Basically, virus infect a bacterial cell and it incorporates its genetic material into the genetic material of the bacterial cell, and then bacterial genetic material starts producing viral particles. These viral particles then assemble and convert into mature a virus, whole new viral organism, and then it eventually causes the death of the cell and bursts the cells and releases as the infectious agents to cause infection to the other body cells of the bacteria. Then the second phase, lysogenic cycle, in this type, infectious agents rarely causes lysis or cause delayed lysis. Basically, this is the phase in which viruses undergo resting phase. So they do not infect the cell, they do not cause death of the cell, they just go into a resting period, and after some time they rejoin the lytic cycle and carry on the infection. So basically, immediate death is caused in lytic cycle, whereas delayed death is caused in lysogenic cycle. This is the representation of both the phases. As we can see in the lytic cycle, this virus is infecting a bacteria and it is incorporating its DNA into bacterial genetic material or bacterial genome. So this bacterial genome then start producing viral particles or synthesize new viral particles. These viral particles then assemble and rejoin as a complete whole new viral virus, and this virus then causes the death of the bacterial cell and it bursts the bacterial cell, causing the immediate death of the cell. Sometimes when a virus infects the bacterial cell and it incorporates its DNA into bacterial genome, this bacteriophage goes in a resting period. Basically, in this resting period, it replicates and start producing more bacteriophages, but it is not an active bacteriophage and it is not infecting or causing death of the bacterial cell. It is just replicating and producing more copies of its own genome. So there are five main steps of a virus replication. First is attachment, in which virus attaches to host cell by sticking to receptors on cell surface. The second one is penetration, in which viral genetic materials enters host cell. The third one is synthesis. Virus produces lots of copies of genetic material in host cells, and host cells provide all the needed materials required for the production or synthesis of viruses. Then comes assembly, in which viruses or subunits of capsid join, genetic materials packed, and viruses are assembled. In the end, viruses are released by the process of exocytosis. They break down cell wall and bud out from the host particle. So this image explains the whole phenomena in the five important steps of viral replication. Plant viruses. As I said earlier that viruses are extremely host specific. So talking about the plant viruses, all plant viruses consist of ribonucleic acid in their ribonucleic protein in their organization, which is basically RNA, except few exceptions like cauliflower mosaic virus, which contains DNA. Important plant viruses are tobacco rattle virus, tobacco mosaic virus, potato virus, turnip yellow virus. So they are all the different types of viruses that basically infect plant species. Citrus tristeza is the largest among plant viruses. So plant viruses are mainly spread by insects such as aphids, leafhoppers, and beetles. Tobacco mosaic virus is the most extensively studied plant virus, which was discovered by Ivanovsky and then crystallized by Stanley. It is rod-shaped in nature. It is single-stranded RNA, cigarette-like shaped virus. Then animal viruses. They mainly infect vertebrates, which includes both animals and humans, because both are mammals. They contain genetic material in the form of DNA or RNA. The protein coat or capsid of animal viruses is surrounded by an envelope. So it is very interesting to know that envelope viruses are even more difficult to be treated. Poliomyelitis is most extensively studied RNA containing animal virus. Common viral diseases of animals: common cold, influenza, mumps, chickenpox, smallpox, polioviral hepatitis. They are all the different types of animal viruses, and among all these viruses, pox virus is the largest known virus. Then these are few viruses that cause diseases in humans. Adenovirus is a DNA virus that causes colds and pink eye disease in humans. Papilloma is a DNA virus that causes warts. Influenza is a flu virus that has RNA as genetic material. Retroviruses, they use RNA instead of DNA as a nucleic acid core. So they contain a very important enzyme known as reverse transcriptase. So the basic function of this enzyme is that it reverse transcribes the RNA code into DNA. So basically it converts RNA into DNA genetic code. uh, Once the viral DNA can be integrated into the host DNA, it remains in the genome and is replicated whenever the host DNA replicates. If viral DNA is transcribed, new viruses are produced by biosynthesis, maturation, and released by budding. So, common examples of retroviruses are HIV, and some also cause certain forms of cancer. Now, these are the two very important virus like entities newly discovered, and they are still debatable. Um, One is viroids. They're plant pathogens. They're small, single stranded circular RNA particles that are much simpler than a virus. They do not have a capsid or outer envelope, but as with viruses, they can reproduce only within a host cell. So, it is very interesting fact that even when viruses were discovered, some scientists used to say they are the living entities. Some were saying that they are non-living entities because they do not contain all the important ingredients of a cell or the essential particles of a cell. And here come viroids, which do not even contain the capsids or the envelope. So they do not, however, manufacture any protein. They produce only a single specific RNA molecule. Human diseases caused by viroids have yet to be identified. So the second important particle is prions. They're called prions because they are proteinaceous in nature. They are infectious particles. They are even smaller than viruses, and they do not contain nucleic acid, neither DNA nor RNA. So historically, the idea of an infectious agent that didn't use nucleic acid was considered impossible. But then pioneering work by Nobel Prize-winning biologist Stanley Prusiner has convinced the majority of biologists that such agents do indeed exist in nature. Fatal neurodegenerative diseases such as Kuro in humans and bovine spongiform encephalopathy in cattle, which is also known as mad cow disease, were some of the few examples of the transmissions carried out by prions. Last but not the least, emergent virus. They are the viruses which are newly appeared, notably increasing in geographic range or has the potential to increase in the near future. Recently, some viruses appear to have shifted their host, like HIV, hantavirus, and Ebola appears to be either viruses shifting to the new host or else viruses whose existence or effects are just now being realized by scientists and the general public. So, in past, it was thought that viruses are extremely host specific, that they can only infect one particular host in their entire life. But now, it is also known that there are few emergent viruses which can even switch their host. They can infect in half life period, they can infect one species, and in the other half they can switch or jump to other uh, host species. The best example of emergent virus is the coronavirus 2019, which is known as COVID-19. It is known as severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. It is a novel virus, um, first isolated from three people with pneumonia-like symptoms, um, which was linked to acute respiratory illness that first appeared in the Wuhan city of China. All features of the novel SARS-CoV-2 virus occur in related coronaviruses in nature. So basically, why we call it SARS-CoV-2, because in the past there has been discovered its first form, which is known as SARS-CoV-1. So it is thought to have a zoonotic origin, which means it has been transmitted to humans via animals. SARS-CoV-2 genetically clustered with the genus beta coronaviruses. This is one of the four main types of coronaviruses that have been discovered so far: alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. They are enveloped single-stranded RNA viruses, and they are 96% identical at the genome level to the bat coronavirus samples, and 92% identical to the pangolin coronavirus. So that's why it is known uh, to be caused by pangolin and bat. So this is the basic structure of a coronavirus. It is globular or circular in nature. It has spikes on its surface. Um, it is enveloped virus, and it contains RNA as genetic material. So that's all about the biodiversity of viruses.